Hi, and welcome to week 4 in our University Certificate in Police Leadership. This week we're going to be looking at the leader as an individual. How is it that leaders develop their personal competence, capability, and credibility for leadership? When we think about a leader or leadership, we understand that leaders function within the context of an organization. And an organization such as Durham Regional Police Service is actually a complex, adaptive system. Complex in that it's made up of many parts, adaptive in that it's continually changing, both because of internal and external forces that bring about that change, and a system because it was designed for a specific purpose. Systems are designed to accomplish a purpose. Durham Regional Police Service was designed as a system to bring about the reality of Durham as a safe place to live, work, and play. That's the vision statement of Durham Regional Police Service. And so we understand that Durham Regional Police Service is a complex adaptive system, and that you as a police officer and an emerging police leader exist within that complex adaptive system. When any one part of that system is not functioning well, that impacts the entire system. And that's why it's so important that for you as an individual leader, you're developing your character, your competence and your credibility so that you enhance the effectiveness and the health of that living organism called Durham Regional Police Service. So we want to look at then, how do I as a police leader develop myself, or as an emerging police leader, how do I develop myself as a leader? And so one of the things we must have, and in fact the World Economic Forum highlighted this in its skill set for 2020, stating that one of the most important skills that a leader could have in the fourth industrial revolution is this notion of self-awareness, the ability to be conscious of the internal aspects of your nature, and as such to understand your personality traits, your emotions, your values, your attitudes, which are forged by your values, and your perceptions, and then to appreciate how these patterns of values and attitudes affect other people. That's really important in terms of self-awareness, knowing who I am and then understanding who I am and how that affects the people around me, especially as a leader. And so when we think about that, though, as we think about self-awareness, of course, one of the great challenges is many of us have blind spots. And Daft defines a blind spot as a characteristic or habit that you are not aware of or don't recognize as a problem. And this limits your effectiveness and hinders your career success as a leader. Do you have blind spots that you're not aware of as a leader? And if so, how are those blind spots affecting your career success, which in turn is affecting the complex adaptive system that we call Durham Regional Police Service? So it's really important for us to be self-aware, and effective leaders know who they are and what they stand for. What is important to you as an individual? What will you stand for? And that enables you to allow people then to know what you expect from them. If you know who you are and what you stand for, that will define and determine your expectations of others. And so we require self-reflection then to avoid blind spots. And one of the things I encourage leaders to do all the time is to journal, to reflect on the day that has passed, the decisions they made, and what blind spots might be emerging as a result of the outcomes of those decisions, what they can see then as blind spots. Another key factor or process in mitigating blind spots is to ensure that you have people who are your mentors, who will help you to grow and develop and help you to discover and deal with blind spots and weaknesses as a leader. When we think about blind spots and we think about self-awareness, one of the things we must know as leaders is our own personality. Personality is defined as that set of unseen characteristics and processes that underlie a relatively stable pattern of behavior. My personality is something that is stable in its outputs. We see this over a period of time, that this person is this way. And it's how we respond to ideas, objects, and people in our environments. That speaks to our personality. All right, there are big five personality dimensions. These were highlighted by trait leadership scholars, and they are as follows. Number 1 is extroversion. The next is agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness to experience. These are key traits of leaders and something that you want to be developing in terms of your personality. Extroversion, the ability to be able to initiate and maintain relationship, not necessarily the ability to be the life of the party. We often think of extroverts as those who are the life of the party, but an extrovert is somebody, many times, who has the capacity and the ability to reach out to others and to network and to initiate and maintain relationships. Agreeableness is the capacity to understand the differences of others, to acknowledge those differences, and to value those differences. Even if we don't always enact the opinions of others, they do know that we have appreciated and that we have affirmed their value and their right to hold those opinions. Conscientiousness, that I embrace effort and talent and bring hard work to the domains of which I am working and leading. Emotional stability, the ability to make good judgments, and that shows credibility as I make good judgments and show tremendous stability under pressure. And then the openness to experience, that I have the ability to be open-minded. A great philosopher said it is the mark of maturity to hold two distinctive positions in the mind at the same time. And I think that's this openness to experience, that I want to try new things, and that I'm not always saying this is not how we've always done it, or this is how we've always done it. So if I want to maximize leadership effectiveness, and as I think about my self-reflection and who I am and where I stand in terms of my personality, and of course those big 5 personality traits, how I affect other people, for extroverts, this is really important. Don't bask in the glow of your own personality. Don't always be thinking that you are the life of the party and that it's all about you. In fact, leadership is very little about you. It's much more about the people that you're leading. So be really careful not to bask in the glow of your own personality. Learn to hold back and let others take the limelight. In fact, we say that many times managers are those who take the praise, but leaders are those who give the praise. And you can tell great leaders because very often they're holding back and allowing others to shine, even extroverts. Try to underwhelm, underpromise, and overdeliver as an extrovert. Your natural exuberance can cause you to miss important facts and ideas, and so be very careful to be listening and reflective rather than always just coming out with the ideas. Talk less and listen more, and employ active listening, and we have the 6 dimensions of active listening that I think we talk about later on in this module as you progress. So let others speak first on an issue. Don't feel like you always have to have the answers, the heroic leader. And don't be Mr. or Mrs. Personality. Extroverts sometimes fail to recognize others' needs and can easily wear people out rather than invigorating them. So really think about, am I someone who's invigorating others, or am I actually wearing other people out? On the other hand, if I'm an introvert and I have my personality is somewhat withdrawn and quiet, I need to learn to mix with people. I need to learn to speak up. And I need to get out there. I need to put myself out there. I need to push myself with new assignments and challenges and to connect with people. Remember, leaders are those who initiate and maintain relationship. You might not relate in the way that an extrovert does, but you still need to relate if you're going to be a leader. And so you want to put yourself out there. Practice being friendly. Practice that. Think about what makes a person friendly. And so be friendly and outgoing. Ask people about who they are and their interests, and listen. And that way you don't have to say much, but you affirm the value of people by doing that. Have a game plan. Prepare well for meetings and presentations. Think about what might come up and how you can address that. Because often introverts, we tend to be much more reflective, and we think after the fact, oh, I could have done this better, or I could have said that, or I should have had this. So try to anticipate and prepare well. And then smile. A frown or a soberly introspective expression can be misinterpreted by people as a negative response. And so you want to be sure that you're not communicating that. And then as you think about assessing yourself as an individual, I want to finish off with this idea of values. Value is a fundamental belief that an individual considers to be important. Values are relatively stable over time, and they have an impact on our attitudes and our behavior. I want to finish with an example. I believe that exercise is good for human health. Because I believe exercise is good for human health, I value running. When somebody tells me, and at the end of this session I'm actually going to be heading over to the gym and having a run and working out, when somebody tells me that I can go for a run or I can spend time exercising because I believe it's good for human health and because I value it, my attitude toward it is very positive, not negative. Therefore, you can tell by my actions when you see me in the gym that I believe that exercise is good for human health, and that's why I value running. And so what you believe and what you value will determine many times how you act. So you want to reflect on, what are my values? What do I value? What do I believe? And how does that express itself in my actions as a leader? Self-awareness is so important to good leadership. Thank you so much.